Hey, hi Flosstube. I'm here with my friend, Dr. Lynne Anderson. And Lynne, you've been here at my house for a couple days.
Yes.
We've been doing some amazing sampler research.
Mm-hmm.
We spent some time at the Museum of Fine Arts looking at my passion, which is Nuremberg samplers, you all know. And
one of my passions, Mexican samplers.
Mexican samplers. So I think that the audience probably needs a little bit of an introduction to you. You are currently the director of the Sampler Archive Project and the president of the Sampler Consortium.
Correct.
Independent sampler historian. And of course, you had an entire life before this. Maybe you could mention a little bit about that to everybody.
I was faculty member at the University of Oregon for something like 40 years.
40 years. We won't say that very loud.
Over, done with.
And the area was actually...
It was in education.
Education.
In education, yeah.
Right.
Technology in education, actually.
Right.
Using technology to help improve literacy, reading, writing, studying of kids who are marginalized.
Right. And so you were telling me the other day, I know we met early in your interest in the professionalization, getting really involved in the people who are studying samplers professionally. We were talking about how you got there.
So I got interested in
How
samplers.
got interested in samplers? So tell me about that.
I got interested in samplers because I inherited 3 when my mom died.
Wow.
Yeah, I knew of samplers, but I didn't really know the context.
Were they family samplers?
One of them was a family sampler.
Wow.
2 were from New Jersey. And my mom had been an antique stealer, and when she found those, she didn't sell them.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
And I didn't know that what she was passing on to me, I don't know if it was by design or default, was something that I'd be passionate about.
Moms know their girls.
Yes, yeah. Literally the rest of my life.
The rest of your life. And so you got these 3 samplers, and then something intrigued you about samplers.
Well, I didn't know the context. I didn't know that they were created in an educational context, in a school context. I, like many people, thought this is done at Mother's Knee, in front of the fire, that whole mythology around it. And we had an appraiser come in to assist us in distributing things between myself and my siblings. And he's the one who said, and these were done by schoolgirls, and this is what they're valued, and the whole notion. I'd always been interested in textiles, but the whole notion that this was an educational product. I'm a professor of education.
Right.
I've even taken a history of education class, and I learned nothing about samplers. And I learned much later on, I realized, okay, all I learned about was boys' education.
Right.
And not girls' education, in spite of the fact that needlework and samplers were a part of every girl's education up to mid-19th century.
Mid-19th century, and nothing taught to you as a history of education.
Well, it wasn't my specialty. I only took 1 course in it, so,
But still,
somebody could be forgiven for missing out. But
well, how can you be forgiven? It's 50% of the population, and they're like...
and every girl did it.
Every girl did it, right.
Yeah.
Which means that there are thousands and thousands and thousands of samplers.
Yeah.
I mean,
worldwide.
Hundreds of thousands. Would you say?
I can't guess, but when we launched into the Sampler Archive, I started talking with people who know collectors and know more or less what's in, and we came up with an estimate of 35,000 in American samplers, just American samplers.
Right. Only.
And there are way more British samplers, and because they started earlier.
Right.
And other countries as well.
Right. Wow. I know we have 2 topics to talk about.
Yep.
So what we're going to do is we're going to talk today about the Sampler Consortium, because I think that everybody needs to know about the Sampler Consortium, because this is how you find out what's going on. I mean, we need a central repository, because the worst thing ever, and this actually happened to me just the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
You called and said, hey, let's get together. I'm coming out to the East Coast and I want to go do this. And I'm here to see the Concord Museum's sampler exhibit.
Which is a half an hour from your house.
It's not even a half an hour. It's the next town over. And I'm on their mailing list, or what I thought I was on their mailing list. And I didn't even know that they had a major exhibition of samplers. It's not quite walking distance from my house, but down the road where my mother-in-law lives. And I didn't know. And so I was like, oh, of course I wanted to go see it. And how do you find out that something's in your area? And so that takes us to the Sampler Consortium. So can you explain the Sampler Consortium to us?
Sure. Sampler Consortium is a membership organization. It has around 2,000 members.
Oh, really?
And they're of all types, curators and needlework enthusiasts and genealogists and textile experts of all sorts everybody's interested in historic needlework and samplers. It is free. It doesn't cost anything to be a member. We just want to share information. The goal is to find ways to communicate information about sampler exhibitions, sampler publications, talks, online talks, in-person talks, just to get word out there. Sometimes it's a blog article, sometimes it's a huge book, sometimes it's a big exhibition, sometimes it's a couple samplers in some tiny little, whatever we learn about. And then we put this into a newsletter.
How often does the newsletter come out?
It's supposed to be once a month.
But it
doesn't always bear.
You don't have a lot of staff.
I'm a staff of one.
Staff of one, right?
So it comes out when I can manage the time to do it. So
people let you know, right? Like if I have a lecture that I'm going to be doing, I can let you know.
Absolutely. People
right.
let me know, and I try to incorporate that. Everything is linked to something online. So it has to be something that I can then provide a link to. It's essentially a bookmark, and then I annotate it and provide more information about it. And if I find something I'm alerted to by Google Alerts or something like that, then I may need more information about it, and I might contact the museum to find more information, or I might contact you if it's you're going to do it and said, can you give me a couple of sentences so that we can communicate? So that goes into the newsletter. So the advantage of the newsletter is that it's an annotated set of links to things that are happening about samplers.
Right. So it's kind of like a one-stop newsletter you get in your email feed, which says, hey, there's an exhibition here today, for this month or these 3 or 4 months, and check out this book and a link to where you can read more about the book. It's fabulous because I learn all the time about exhibitions that might be in my area or might be in a city that I'm traveling to. I mean, Travels with Trisha. How do you think I know? How do you think I know about where to go sometimes? And it really sucks to go visit a city for some other reason. Maybe you're taking a kid on a college visit. I was doing a lot of those recently. And to find out that I could have seen something.
Yes.
That's
what started it, actually.
Really?
Because, I missed a big get-together at Deerfield.
Oh, that's right.
I forget the year, 2002 or something.
Origins.
Or something. Yes.
Fabulous
And I was in Brattleboro, which is, 15 minutes
15
away.
minutes,
And because I had relatives there at the time.
Yeah.
I'm in Brattleboro. I didn't know about it, so I didn't get to go.
Right.
And then I said, this is silly. We need better communication.
We need a spot, yeah.
Then more recently, we've added the Instagram page.
Let me pull up the Instagram.
Okay.
All right. So here is your Instagram page.
Yeah.
And walk me through what we're seeing here in the first couple posts.
So this first post over here on the left is an announcement of a presentation I'm going to do on this Sunday. And it's for the Kindred Spirits Sampler Guild. It's happening this Sunday at 1:30, something like that. Sometimes I use this to check myself. And it is a presentation on the Philadelphia presentation samplers.
Can I click on those?
Yeah, so you can
So there's actually more than one picture per sometimes.
Keep going.
All right. Look at that.
So,
and I got a sneak preview of this presentation last night, and it is absolutely wonderful. But this is also a way, Lynn, wouldn't it be for sampler guilds to find out about presentations that people are giving and then contact the presenter and find a new speaker?
Right, exactly. And then I always ask, if people do not belong to the sampler guild, who should they contact if they want to attend this presentation?
Oh, yeah.
And so that's also actually brought in new members to many of the sampler guilds.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So,
and some of these are done on Zoom as well.
This is Zoom.
This is a virtual.
Yeah, and most of I try to We have both online and in-person things that are included in this, but to the maximum extent possible, I want to open things up for
Right,
people. So the
right.
Zoom lectures are great.
They're
for
great.
that. Yeah.
They are great. I enjoy doing them. And it's wonderful because, as you say, a lot of people have joined multiple guilds because of the content that's provided, and they can see the Zoom lectures.
So this other one, the second one, is announcing the Concord Museum's exhibit that we just saw yesterday.
That we just saw yesterday, and we saw this particular piece, and I was telling you how much it reminded me of a piece in my collection. So we're going to have to do a little digging around.
And there, I think there's a couple.
Oh, look at
there
that.
are detail shots there.
Look at that detail shot. The Concord Museum exhibition was wonderful. And I think that we specifically enjoyed the history of the Thoreau family.
Yes.
As it,
Yes.
we didn't have any idea, this was the mother and the aunts.
Of
Yeah,
yes.
of Henry Thoreau, samplers on display. And we ended up, the people that were in the galleries, that the monitors of the galleries were quite knowledgeable.
They were very knowledgeable and very helpful. Yeah.
And so they sent us off into some other galleries to look at history that was related to the Thoreau family, women, not the men, and their work in Black
the anti-slavery
anti-slavery.
society.
Yes, and that was fascinating.
So that's the type of thing, and the Instagram, we moved to the Instagram account so that we could include images, and the newsletter does not, at the moment, have images in it, so it's kind of text heavy, but with the Instagram account, then we can include images, and that's, so things, sometimes it's the same thing, you'll find it in the newsletter as well as on Instagram.
Right.
Sometimes it only appears on Instagram because I learn about it and it's gone before I get a
Right.
chance to write the newsletter.
right.
So some of the more up-to-date things show up in the Instagram.
But it's kind of a good thing to follow both. But
absolutely.
you're also reaching different audiences. You're starting to reach a different generation of audiences
We
this
are,
way, which
yes.
is great. And of course, this image on the screen right now is actually there's another one, but these are the Thoreau family memorials that we had been looking at it. Well, that's wonderful. So Lynn, are there some exhibits that are coming up that we should know about?
Yes, I can think of a couple right offhand. One is an exhibit that's opening in March
Yeah.
15th, at the DAR Museum in Washington, D.C.
In Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
So here, we're going to bring up the website and take a look at the exhibition here. I see it's Sewn in America, Making Meaning and Memory. How do samplers come into this?
Well, samplers are part of the process of learning to sew, particularly learning to embroider. And there is a whole collection of samplers, a variety of different levels, girls' skill levels, in this exhibit. And the curator, Alden O'Brien, asked me to write the essay on samplers
fantastic.
for their catalog. And
So by the catalog, there's going to be a good essay in it.
so, and what I decided to talk about in the essay was a focus on samplers as part of the learning process, and so focusing on samplers where there's a sampler set, where multiple samplers by the same girl.
By the same girl.
So you can see the progression.
Well, let's take a
improvement
look
of
at
skill.
some.
Okay, so this sampler here is actually used to demonstrate that girls started very young, at ages 6 and 7.
Age 7. Julia and
Shorey,
age 7. Oh my
She
goodness.
did this, age 7, 1806, and she did this at the Boston Female Asylum.
Boston Female Asylum. Okay, I have to admit, from all my work in Boston, I haven't heard of the Boston Female Asylum.
Okay.
What's that mean?
That is an orphanage.
It's
It
an
was founded in
orphanage.
1804 by some Boston ladies.
Right.
To take in orphans. Most of them were from Boston. In fact, it was kind of a difficult thing to get this girl in. She became an orphan, and I think it was 1805, a little bit before she went in, 4 or 5. And she became an orphan because a lightning struck her home and killed her mother and her father and a baby that the mother was holding,
Oh
all at the same time.
my
The
God.
lightning apparently split and then killed inside the home.
That is shocking.
It is quite a story.
Wow.
And so she was...
Shocking, literally.
Yeah, shocking, yes.
Yeah.
So she was, they found her a home, and then this is a sampler that she did, which is a very beautiful
It is a
sampler.
beautiful sampler, but
Yes.
to know the story behind it gives it a little bit of more meaning.
And that it's very competently done, especially for a 7-year-old. So here's a set of samplers. These 2 samplers were done by Louisa Plimpton, and she was from East Sudbury in Middlesex County.
Yes. And East Sudbury in Middlesex County is actually, this is my locality. I live in Lexington, Massachusetts, which is part of Middlesex County. So when it says East Sudbury, I literally know the area I drive through, which is where that is.
So this first one is a very simple alphabet sampler. We don't know exactly how old she was, so there's no date on it, so we don't know, but not very old to doing this when she did this sampler. And then a few years later, she probably did samplers in between, she did this very sophisticated family record sampler, which is part of a whole group of samplers that have the family tree literally on a tree.
Really on a tree, yes. And I really recognize these samplers because many of the girls from Lexington, and we don't even know, school, itinerant, drawer, there's a lot of question about this.
Yes.
But many of the girls in Lexington did these samplers.
And there's another one very much like this in the DAR collection, which I do believe is in the exhibit. And this is obviously done under the instruction of the same teacher, has the same features, it has the fruit, each piece of fruit has the name of a child. On this one by Louisa Plimpton, I think this is the one, yes, where you notice here that the connection between the piece of fruit and the branch is gone. And that means that child has died.
Oh, how sad.
There's
so
two of them on
there's
this.
embedded meaning about the genealogy in the sampler itself.
Yes.
In the design.
These are the parents at the roots
Right.
of the tree. And then each piece of fruit is a child. And in this particular one, 2 of the pieces of fruit have been disconnected.
Because they had passed away.
They passed away.
That's sad.
One of whom is the namesake of this girl. It was also named Louisa Plimpton.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, and then when we were in Concord just this week, there was another one from this family of samplers in the exhibition.
Yeah.
So that, it's really interesting to see more and more samplers are coming to light, and we're able to pull more and more of these sets of samplers together for further research.
And that's how we learn about them. The more we have, then the more we can learn about them. So that's one exhibit that's coming up, and really, really recommend the curators worked really hard on it. And it's broader than samplers, or if you're interested in quilts, there's also quilts in there and various types of things related to learning to sew. The second one, I'm not sure it's advertised yet, that I know about is coming up. I believe it opens in April, it goes through the summer.
And I'll put the dates you'll get me the dates.
can
and
get
I'm
you
going to
the
put the
dates,
dates underneath here. You can look down below at underneath, in the notes section, and I'll put that information in there so that you can find it.
So that is a private collection. And a collection of samplers, a fabulous collection of samplers by Alexandra Peters.
Wonderful.
She has many samplers, and she had an exhibit last summer at the Sharon Historical Society, which was such a big hit that Litchfield Historical Society, also in Connecticut, asked if they could have it this summer. So
how generous
of
a private collector to allow their samplers to be hung in a museum for a long period of time. That is just incredibly generous.
Yes, and it's a fabulous collection. We were seeing samplers related to Thoreau. Well, she has samplers related to Hawthorne.
Really?
The Hawthorne family.
The Hawthorne family,
yes. Nathaniel Hawthorne family and the Scarlet Letter and so forth.
Oh, that's fabulous.
So,
well,
as well as many other things, very, very stupendous samplers. And she and I are working to get the samplers into the Sampler Archive Project, and hopefully that she will end up writing a book on her samplers.
So we all have to
yeah.
encourage Alexandra to write a book on her
Yes.
pieces, because that would be wonderful. We all need more books about samplers on our shelf, don't we? Lynn, can we see a sampler or two from the exhibition at
Sure.
Litchfield?
Sure. So let me draw one up here. Okay, here's one. I'll show you a couple from Massachusetts. This is one by Mary Sparhawk. She's 9 years old, and she stitched this in Marblehead, Massachusetts.
Oh, Marblehead, Massachusetts.
Uh-huh.
Marblehead is on the coast of Massachusetts, and it's near Salem. It's actually really hard to drive to. My kid has a friend there, and even though it's like by the crow's fly, it's not that far away. It takes an hour to
Really?
drive there, but it's right on the ocean. It's absolutely beautiful.
Well, this is a nice sampler. It's on a linsey woolsey background. That's why it's a darker background.
It's kind of greenish, right?
Yeah, it's a greenish color. And she stitched this in 1807 when she was 9 years old. And she has these lovely people. I think somebody describing it would say it's a courting couple with this flowers and the animals at the about a little nice little romantic scene.
Can we see it closer at the bottom, Lynn?
Sure.
These little figures and the little sweet little lambs
Yeah,
to it.
there you are.
I kind of wonder whether or not this is stitched. Oh, I can see right now. It is stitched in that crinkle silk that area of the country is so well known for.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, see at the
Oh,
bottom
you're right.
there?
Yeah, look
the
at
bottom?
that grass there.
Yeah, the grass, at least. That's where the girls were taking the silk that was already twisted when it was twisted when it was purchased. And they untwisted it and used one ply in their needle to do the stitching. So I guess the silk went at least twice as far, at the very least.
And it's crinkled because it's been rolled.
Because it's been twisted.
Okay,
it was
great.
twisted, and that twist is retained by the silk. And even though it's a filament silk, I mean, if you pull it really, really taut, the crinkle kind of goes away, which is why it's irregular. When you look at the satin stitch, it's irregular because the tension that the girl was using kind of changes.
Well, it works really well for this grass.
It does.
It looks almost alive.
Really alive. But but it's a uniquely. It seems at the moment still, as research has gone on, that it seems uniquely American.
Oh,
so it's a good indicator.
Excellent. Okay, let's pull up another one. Let's see here. Another one from Massachusetts, maybe. How about this one?
Oh, that's beautiful.
So a little different. Beautiful, beautiful border here.
Look at how much shine that has with all those flowers, that satin stitch going in all directions, kind of splaying from the center. And each flower is turned in a different direction. I bet you this one is absolutely gorgeous in person. I will have to see it in the exhibition.
Yes. This was by Susan Wilson. And she stitched this, it looks like 1835 in Marlborough.
Marlborough is a town on, it's outside of Boston, like a good ways outside of Boston, about 45 minutes, 50 minutes by car. And, but it's in the, more of the interior of Massachusetts. But look at that silk there, when you, with this close-up picture, it does not look like it's the crinkle silk. This looks like it is a filament silk that she has used, and it doesn't twist on itself much. So she was working hard to lay this silk down so that it would shine so amazingly well. And I kind of feel like she purposely used technique to make the silk, shine, right? Because by doing it to the center, how she splays the stitches at the center of that flower, catches the light sometimes. It makes it dark in other.
There's quite a variation there.
Quite a variation.
It makes it look very real and shiny.
Really, that's beautiful. Okay. That's really beautiful.
So, and there are many others.
Many others.
Yes.
How many samplers do you think might be in the exhibition?
I'm guessing something like 60 or 70.
Wow.
A big. I mean, she has 150, maybe more. She hasn't actually told me how many are going to be in the exhibition, but my memory is that it was about that many. It was a large number before.
So this is worth driving.
Oh, yeah.
This is worth going to the exhibition.
Yes.
Getting a couple friends together and making a little day of it or a
and
weekend
Litchfield's
of it.
fun anyway.
Is it?
It's the Historical Society. And Litchfield is where Sarah Pierce had the Litchfield Academy.
Oh.
So there's also other things to see there and to learn about the Sarah Pierce's Academy for Girls, which was
Really?
very well known and very academically rigorous, in addition to fabulous needlework.
That's fantastic.
So
That's
they're
fantastic.
turning over their large main gallery space. So I don't actually know how many will fit in
You're right.
in their space.
Well, they'll cram them as much as they
Yeah,
can,
I
hopefully,
assume.
hopefully for our viewing pleasure. Well, thank you so much, Lynn, for showing us these samplers,
You're
giving us a
welcome.
preview of the exhibitions coming. I hope that people will become members, and membership is free.
Membership is free.
Membership
Just
is free.
Sign up.
Sign up to get the newsletter so that you know when these terrific exhibitions are coming. And it seems to me like more and more exhibitions are happening.
They are. Samplers are getting quite a bit of visibility, and and so they keep popping up. I'm really surprised. I'm working with the Gilbert Stewart Museum in Rhode Island, and they're planning one for this year too. I'm not sure exactly the dates, and I'm not sure exactly what's going to be in it, but that's another one.
And you've told me about a few other exhibitions which are in the planning stages that are not public yet, but
Yes.
of course, if you're a member of the Sampler
You will learn
Consortium,
about it.
you're going to know about it.
Yeah.
But they're in the center of the country.
That's right.
And that is an area that has not had a lot of sampler or needlework exhibitions, and that is very exciting.
Yes.
Because I grew up in the center of the country, and we always had to go to the East Coast to see things. And you said you're in Oregon. Right?
I'm in Oregon, so you can imagine we don't get too many.
Right.
There's been two that I know of since I've become aware, and I was involved in both of them in some way.
Yeah, well, I think people, this is a little side note, people who love samplers need to knock on the door of their local historical society and say, what you got?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they
Show
will
them that
have
there's
them.
interest.
And they may not know if you say sampler what a sampler is. So you go with a picture or something.
Oh, that's a great
Yes,
hint.
and
That's
say
a great
I'm looking
hint.
for things like this.
Things like this. What do you
Two or
have?
three pictures. Yeah.
And then get involved.
Yes.
You know?
Find out the histories. Help
Yeah.
them get them recorded.
Help them with the genealogy.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
Contact
a lot.
us.
Yeah.
We'll help.
Well, we'll talk about the Sampler Archive project
Yes.
on another episode, but thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right.